In this video, I'm going to talk a bit about place value. I spent quite a lot of time teaching children who really struggled to pass their GCSE. I used to therefore give them a whole lot of diagnostic exercises to work out where the problem lay. It was like taking the leaves off an artichoke. The heart of the matter is always place value. The reason for this is that when pupils enter secondary school in Year 7, they've come from a huge variety of different primary schools with very different experiences of understanding place value, fractions, decimals and percentages particularly. Bringing that together as a Year 7 teacher is a challenge, and I therefore would recommend that you don't make assumptions, you teach it correctly as one of the first things you do with your new Year 7 class. I like starting with a Roman numeral investigation because children have covered Roman numerals in their primary schools, and turning this investigation we have at the end of chapter 1 in core mathematics is a very good way of reinforcing what the Romans could and could not do with their number system, and then showing the superiority of the number system we use today. Moving on then, checking, do your pupils know how to multiply and divide by 10, 100 and 1,000? Too often I've sat in lessons and heard the teacher say, you move the decimal point. This is of course totally incorrect. The decimal point stands very firmly on the line between the units and the tenths columns. It does not move. What moves are the numbers. When numbers get 10 times bigger, the digits all move to the left. When a number gets 10 times smaller, the digits all move to the right. Really simple, but often extremely badly taught with what I call soundbite mathematics. Give them a quick rule, it works if you apply it, but it doesn't actually reinforce understanding. So once they've got that well embedded, then it's time to make that link between decimals and percentages, and decimals and fractions. Before you move on to decimals, which teachers and pupils often think are the easiest way because they have a calculator. So firstly, remove the calculator, and then think about the history of mathematics. Think about the ancient Egyptians. Think about the old number systems that we had before the metric system was introduced. We tended to use systems of measurement based on 12 and 60. The 60s come from the ancient Babylonians, and of course we still use numbers to base 60 when we are talking about time. So really important that pupils understand fractions right from that basis. And why do we use 60? Because it's been divided into lots of different fractions. It has lots of factors. So teach factors and fractions before you move on to decimals. If ever you think what is the correct order, think of the timeline when human beings learnt and applied mathematics. Think back to the ancient Egyptians. In the books you'll find several ancient Egyptians' investigations using fractions. The use of investigations to introduce topics is a good way of assessing your pupils' understanding and ability. You haven't got to teach exercise 1, exercise 2, exercise 3. Many of your pupils will be very adept. Another way you could start by introducing a topic is not by launching into the exercises, but giving them a sheet of A3 and some felt pens and say, write down what you know about fractions. And hopefully you'll see they've made that link between fractions and decimals. Only when they've got that link really understood do you then move to look at percentages. Don't do it too early and don't do it in a rush. This is one of those topics which children who struggle with mathematics never really get the hang of. They do what I call fuzzy felt mathematics. They arrange the numbers on the page and pray, and sometimes they're in the right place and sometimes they're not. So start by really reinforcing that 1% is 1/100th. Show them 1 to 100 square. Colour in the 1%. Colour in 10%, when visually it leaps off the page as being a tenth. So using visual methods to reinforce this link between the fractions, decimals and percentages really helps those children who would otherwise struggle with mathematics. I hope that gives you some tips and ideas to enliven your classroom and also to help your children get that absolutely fundamental importance of place value well embedded and well understood.